Hey guys, I'm Sean with the Family Outdoors. I recently had went on a birthday trip with my son Cameron. During that trip I was sporting a lot of new gear. The intention was to be able to film and go through the gear as we were doing the camp, but we just run out of time with all the hunting we were doing and whatnot, so I decided to make a separate little video here where I could just talk solely about the new gear that I had used on that trip. So, one of the big things that I had brought on that trip was this new 75-liter pack. I was extremely happy with it. It was an excellent pack. There was definitely no complaints with it. It was durable. I filled it right up. I had a lot of stuff in there. There's plenty of storage compartments for little things. You got the spot down here for your sleeping bag and stuff where you could strap it down on the outside, which I chose to do. And then I had my thermarest, my pillow, shemagh, a bunch of extra cordage and stuff down here in this bottom slot. This pocket on the outside is where I kept all the little extras like the ferro rods and that kind of stuff. It's got nice compartments inside to keep everything segregated and separate. And this was a very cheap pack. I think I got this for $30 on Amazon. And man, I'm very happy with it. It's especially for the price I paid. I loaded this sucker right up, went out with it. It was comfortable. There definitely was not any issues at all that I was concerned about. I think it's a very nice pack. Lots of padding. You can see all the padding on the shoulder straps and the hip waist. It's also got the chest buckle here. Very, very nice pack. Very happy with it. I love all the straps on the outside that go down to the pocket so that I can put my chiappa down here. I can put an axe or my cold steel shovel. It's just an excellent all-around pack. Really like it. Was worth the $30 for sure. We'll be using this one lots in the future for big outings and winter camps and ones where I'm basically backpacking in. Alright, so the other thing that was brand new for that trip was this little hammock. Again, this hammock I think I paid 15 bucks for, something like that, off Amazon. It was extremely cheap. It's not a jungle hammock or anything fancy, it's just an open hammock. So I decided to buy this at the time just to put up, like when my wife goes to the lake and stuff like that. She's got a place just to kind of lounge around, that not necessarily for sleeping in, but I decided it was a fall trip, the mosquitoes are all dead. Why not take advantage of just an open hammock? We didn't even bring tarps or anything on this trip, so all I had was this hammock. It was a decent hammock. The tree straps obviously aren't worth a darn, but that's what you get when you buy a hammock for $15. It served its purpose. Wasn't as comfortable as my other hammocks by any means. It felt like it had stretched a lot throughout the night, and I had quite a sag to it. With the tree straps that come to it, obviously it was a lot harder to set up, but it worked regardless. You can see up in the videos on the side here. that it was a decent hammock. Izzy even enjoyed it, so I can't really complain about that. For the price, didn't cost very much at all. The next purchase that I had made was picking up this sleeping bag. It's a negative 18-degree sleeping bag. It's a Tenton sleeping bag that's the same breed as the pillow and stuff that I use when I'm hammock camping. Again, I believe this was on sale for $20 or $30. I picked it up strictly as a hammock sleeping bag. I wanted one that I could throw in there. It's considerably small for somebody my size. You can see it's not a very long sleeping bag by any means, but I got it for basically summer camping in the hammock. So I mean, I don't need anything super great for that. It wasn't a bad purchase, I don't think. It served me well when we were out there. I think temperatures dropped to about +3 Celsius. So it did drop down a little bit. I was warm enough, and keep in mind I was elevated up off the ground, so I had nothing underneath me. But I was warm enough, you know, it didn't condensate all up. Probably largely in part because it was too short for me to get my head into it if I wanted to. But yeah, it was a decent sleeping bag, and that's one of the new items that I had brought out there, my glow-in-the-dark sleeping bag. So this is a sleeping bag now, hole in the compression sack. You can see it doesn't go that small, but hey, it's good enough for me. So the next item I'd like to talk about is this little pick-a-light. This is the little light that I had took on that camp. It was the first time I used it. I had charged it up via micro USB. You can see here. It had run, I'm on 6 hours now and counting since I've charged this, and it is still very bright. It's a 2-click activation. I don't know if you guys can see that that's on that little light. But the other cool thing is, if you pull it up like this, it turns it into a lantern. The other thing that I really like about this light is that you can charge your cellular devices right there in an emergency. So that's pretty cool. Anything that charges via USB, that's a pretty handy little light right there. I really like the 2-stage activation. Very, very good. I really like this light. This is one of my favorite items that I had picked up. Excellent little light. The other thing that I had picked up for this trip is a little Pelican headlamp. This is a very cheap headlamp. You can see there's nothing fancy to it, nothing fancy to the straps. It's very plain Jane. It takes 3 AAA or AA batteries, I apologize. It's a fairly heavy little headlamp, but you know what? Served the purpose for a trip that's close to home where I'm not depending on light to get me out of a bad situation or anything like that. Just for the bushcraft hunting style camps where, you know, it's not necessary to be moving around at night if you can't see. It worked fantastic, no complaints at all, very cheap, easy to use, a little bit on the heavy side, but serves its purpose. Another item that I had purchased for this trip, you can see here, is this ferro rod. It's a 1/2 inch diameter by 5 inches tall. Paracord wrap with a nice paracord bracelet, so you can put it on your sleeve, I guess, if you want. It worked really well. I think it was something like, you can see in the video over here, something like 2 strikes, and it got the fire going in the bush box. I'm gonna have to scrape it a few times, and hopefully she'll start throwing sparks real well.
we go.
Or the firebox, sorry. So yeah, very good little ferro rod. Was happy with the purchase. I like to have a larger diameter ferro rod when I go out. I'm not much of a fan of anything under 3/8. I know you can get them really small, but I like the bigger rod. It's not as hard to lose. I know it's there. It's easy to account for. Definitely a good purchase. Really liked it. Another thing that I had brought new on that trip, although I have a lot of them, I just grabbed a new one specifically for us going out that trip. I'm not even sure why, but it's just a little 2-quart non-stick billy can. These billy cans, I believe, are about $20. You can see it here. They're very nice, you know. It's not like a zebra billy can or anything like that, but these serve the purpose too, and they're really inexpensive. You don't got to spend a lot of money to kind of get out and enjoy yourself. You might not have the best gear, but it gets you outdoors without breaking the bank, right? So I have always liked these billy cans. They got the locking handles on them. They're very well balanced. Really like them. They're not huge. They fit these Silver Fire biomass stoves very, very well. Very nice billy can. Really like it. So the last cooking portion of the gear that we got is the firebox. So you can see right here. Very nice box. You can zoom back out.
Okay, okay.
This one I tried to show you guys, but it was just too dark, so it was hopeless. Very nice unit. I really like this purchase. We used it a lot. We basically had it going like it was a campfire pretty well. Like it was on the whole time for us. Ooh. I don't like getting these sticks out because if you put this plate right here too high, it makes it very hard to get your sticks in and out. And when I put it away last time, I made the mistake of putting it way too high, and it was hard to get the sticks in, and it's even harder to get them out. Now, instead of trying to peel this thing up, you just open the box up, and it'll pop it off itself, the little ash plate. You open it up, the base falls down into it. Very nice. I really noticed that this wind deflector on the side really got stiff when heat was applied to it. It really locked it up that it was pretty well impossible to move it. But, you know, we liked the stove. It was a good stove. Never used any of the grilling plate or the quick boiling system or any of that stuff that trip. We will one trip, but we just didn't get around to using it for that trip. It was dark. It was way late in the day already by that point, and we just wanted to get the fire and stuff going and get a meal. These are a very nice stove though. Like, we were very happy with them, and worked really well. I was more impressed, if I'm being honest. I was a lot more impressed with its ability to be literally a little campfire than I was anything that I did with cooking with it. But in terms of being a little campfire, this thing, it worked really well. I was very impressed with that. It was super nice, super handy to have, because the ground conditions were there was clay, but there was a lot of roots, and the issue that you run into with that is that the fire will carry along the root, and even if you dig all the duff stuff out down to the clay, unless you dig out a huge, great big pit, it can still catch onto the roots and it'll follow the roots back up to the duff, which is a dangerous situation. That's where these things really come in handy. Nice bit of kit. I'm not gonna lie, this thing is heavy as heck. If I'm gonna take something this heavy, I'd probably stick with like the BioLite camp stove too, so that I could charge USB devices off of it. I mean, that's lighter than this is, and I can charge devices off of it. So yeah, but great little kit regardless. Probably use it lots for bushcraft and at the base camp, stuff like that, where, you know, I'm close to home. It's kind of like day trips or a couple days where I don't got to worry about charging batteries and stuff for all the camera gear. Alright guys, so the last thing that I want to talk about in terms of new gear for that trip is the filming equipment. My wife went out and bought me some new cameras. Previously to that trip, all of our videos have been filmed either on a very old small camcorder that I had that just was horrible. I think we used it for one shot and the picture quality was so poor we never used it again. That was way back in when we first started the wiki up. And then other than that, everything has been filmed strictly off my cell phone. So for the trip that we went on for Cameron's birthday and this video here, I have been using my new cameras. Now, the camcorder that she had got me, I really love this thing. This is a Sony HDR Handycam. I really like this thing. It is, I don't know much about cameras, I'm not even gonna lie, but it's 9.2 megapixels. The images are sharp, it zooms in a long ways, it's got a real wide angle to it. So I'm very happy with this. The battery life is absolutely incredible. I talked earlier about bringing the solar charger to charge the batteries and stuff, but we never ever had to because the batteries just lasted the whole entire trip, which was 2 days, 3 days, something like that, 3 total I think, and we filmed lots. And the temperatures dropped down low, the batteries did really well, super happy with it. It was definitely a very thoughtful purchase from her. She got it for my birthday. Super fantastic camera, absolutely loved it. Excellent. Now the other part that you guys will notice if you watch that video is that I got a couple of new little GoPros as well. These aren't actually GoPros, these are the knockoff versions, but hey, they're really cheap, and I was actually very happy with them. We had mounted one onto the gun stand when Cameron was sighting in his gun and stuff. You guys seen that footage. A lot of the footage of us just walking around or little shots of little things here and there were all filmed by the GoPros. You will know what was filmed by the GoPro because I made the mistake of not removing the date and time stamp before we started filming. So you see dates in there all over the place and the dates aren't even accurate, but that's what happens when you're new at this. Since then I have went through and removed the dates on the GoPro, so that won't happen again. But yeah, 2 excellent pieces. Very nice additions to the kit. Really love the camcorder. We're super happy with both of them. And we hope it brings a lot better image quality for you guys in the future. So on the subject of cameras, this is one of the chargers that I had brought on the trip. It was brand new, first time I used it, and to be honest with you, the batteries on the camera lasted so darn long I didn't even get a chance to use it. But this is my Aki solar charger. It's a beautiful charger. It's got a quick charge and a slow charge. Right here in the back, you can see it there. Very nice charging system. I was really looking forward to using it. But at the same time, I was also very, very happy that the batteries lasted on the camera so well that I didn't have to use it. And we did a lot of filming on that trip. But you can see there's 3 solar panels, a very, very nice setup. You can hook it right to your pack when you're hiking and walking, stuff like that. It's a great unit. Like, I mean, I'm very looking forward to a chance where I can put this thing through the test. But it's light, it's easy to take around with you, you can unfold it. I have charged my cell phone on here just to charge it, just to use it and make sure it works, and it charged it quickly. So I mean, I was very happy with it. That was in the heat of summer though. It's a little bit different now that we're in fall. The sun doesn't have the intensity, but yeah, great little unit. This is another little tripod that my wife had got me. It's just a little guy, you can see, so that when we go out on these trips like this, I'm not packing my great big honking tripod out there. It's got 3 telescoping legs, so you'll sit about that high at total height. Plus it's got the arm that you can pull up here, just like every other one. Nice little quick, simple, easy tripod that is, I find, nice for them kind of camps where I want to do some steady filming like when we're hunting, but I can't pack a bunch of weight with me. That's where ones like this are super nice and come in handy. I really enjoyed it on that trip, and I'll use it a lot more in the future for sure. So that's it, guys. That's everything that I didn't get a chance to go over with you while we were out there. That's the new gear that I had brought on that trip. I've got plenty more. Yeah, thanks for watching this episode, and we'll see you guys in the next one.